So today's guest is Lynn Wilder. And like most of the women on my show, Lynn's path is not linear. She's had multiple careers and, like many of us, experienced hardship and tragedy along the way, including divorce and the death of a child. But through her healing journey, she came across something she believed could not only help her, but help others heal. She describes her life as a quote, personal odyssey of self discovery, growth, and healing. She wants to help guide others towards wellness and self awareness through something called craniosacral therapy. I'm going to definitely let her explain that as we get into the show. But Lynn, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the program.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I know you've had a lot of transformative moments in your life, but I always want to start with people's origin stories because I think it's really interesting to find out where people came from to help understand how they got to where they are today. Talk a little bit about where you grew up, where you went to school, and kind of how you got into your first career, if you will.
I always believe that when everything happens quickly, that's the way the timeline is supposed to go. I was born and raised in Southern Illinois, a little town called Clay City. Nobody will know where it's at. I graduated when I was 17, got married when I was 17, started college when I was 17, and then followed up with working for that college.
I know you were in your late 40s. Is that right? When you got into massage therapy. How did that come about? Why massage therapy?
I received insurance finally for my husband's job, and we started receiving chiropractic care. And the chiropractor one day said, if you got a massage before your chiropractic adjustment, it would be so much better and it would just hold your chiropractic adjustment for longer. So I was like, okay, my next time I'll come and get a massage beforehand. And the minute I got off her table, I realized what a gift she had given me through the touch of her hands. And I knew that that was what I wanted to do.
I can see you're getting emotional. And I honestly think sometimes when I get a massage, I want to cry because I have a lot of
Absolutely.
pain. I'm a athlete, I'm a runner, and it is transformative, right? To have
Absolutely.
that healing at the hands of another person. I know you experienced some difficult things in your life. You were living in the Midwest, right? You were living in, is it
Correct.
Indiana? Is that correct? You went through a divorce. One of your parents passed away. And so, how did you get to North Carolina? You moved to North Carolina.
The original arrival in North Carolina was because I met a man on the internet and I moved down to Spring Lake, North Carolina, which is just right above Fayetteville. He was stationed at Fort Bragg. And so that's how my first arrival came. And then when he ETS'd out of the military, we moved back to the Midwest.
And then that was the divorce. And then you moved back to North Carolina.
Yeah, after my mother passed away, I felt like I needed to come down and see the Outer Banks, see the lighthouses, because I never got a chance to do that when I lived down here originally. And the minute I crossed that state line, I decided it was time to move back.
It just felt like the right fit for you. I know you had a tragedy in 2018, a child who died by suicide. Can you talk about that? I know it's a really tough topic to talk about, but I think other parents who've experienced this could benefit from hearing that story.
I woke up one morning just being called to check my phone immediately. And I saw an email from her saying that by the time you read this, I'll be gone. And so immediately you go into panic and you go into trying to fix everything as a mother. And I just started reaching out to 911, calling the law enforcement in that area. And by the time they did find her, she had expired. And I felt like I knew when she expired. It was just the connection
Eh,
that you just know.
Where was your child and how old was she?
She was living in Indiana at the time, and she would have been 28 that year.
So what was she struggling with, or did you know she was struggling?
I didn't realize how much she was struggling. My daughter was transgender. The whole time I carried her in my belly, I just felt like she was a girl. And on the delivery table, the doctor was like, "You have a healthy baby boy." He was like, "No, it's a baby boy." And so I raised her as a little boy. And when she became of age and got into her time where she would be developing into a young man, She sent me an email. She was like, Mom, I don't feel like I'm a boy. I feel like I'm a girl. And so she struggled with that for quite some time.
And obviously, it sounds like as a parent, you were very supportive of that,
Absolutely.
but maybe not so much society, maybe not the rest of the world.
Yeah,
And
she
that
didn't
might
feel
have
safe
played a
to
role.
travel to North Carolina to visit, which was sad.
As a parent, how do you work through this? There's no end to the grief, but you obviously have to continue living. So, what do you do? How do you heal?
I'm very thankful that I still feel like I'm very connected with her. And I feel like she's right there with me all the time. And she's helped me through it a lot, in my opinion. And also my faith has helped through that because Dr. Bernard Beckwith says that we're never born, we never die. We just come into this life for a time. So there is no end for our spirit or our soul. It continues on.
I know a big part of what you do now is to help heal other people. And I always say or believe strongly that we heal ourselves by helping heal other people, right? So I know you do a lot of things, but one of your main things, therapy.
Yes.
I understand this can be used for migraines, headaches, severe pain. Talk about what it is and how you got into it and how it works.
I got into it because the massage therapy school that I attended in Indianapolis, the owner believed that it was very important to introduce us to as many modalities as she could while we were in massage therapy school so that if something resonated with us really well, then we could pursue it further. And she had a woman come in that was a massage therapist and craniosacral therapist and introduced us to some of the things of craniosacral therapy. And I remember when I first felt the craniosacral rhythm, I felt it in my own body. And it was the most magical thing I think I've ever felt. And realizing that I could make a change in someone's body by adjusting different things, their cranial bones.
I'm imagining this. You're basically working in the head and neck area with this
Actually, no, there's actually four major diaphragms along the dural tube, which is the spinal cord, that we open up first before we work in the head and work in the cranial bones.
And so that then helps with it, headaches, migraines, people that have had chronic pain in their head,
Right.
obviously.
When you think about the spinal cord, every spinal nerve comes off of that spinal cord. And if you think of your spinal cord like a garden hose, what happens when that garden hose gets twisted or kind of stuck? It's not going to allow fluid to flow through it very well. And so that's what craniosacral therapy does. It kind of lines out any of those little crimps that we might have that might be pinching down on the dural sleeve, which is the protective sleeve that comes.
I guess this is probably really good for people that have tried other things. You know, they've tried medication and not been successful. And if you have chronic pain or you know somebody who has chronic pain, it affects your whole life. It affects every single day. And I always think, I haven't had migraines, but I think when people talk to me about it, imagining having that pain consistent, it's impossible to function. So this has got to be life changing for people when it works, correct?
Absolutely. I always tell people, though, that they are the healer. I may hold space and I may help them to heal, but they are the true healer.
So you're the conduit for the healing. I was looking at some of your stuff on your websites, and there is an aquatic element to this too, right? You can do this kind of therapy in the water. Talk to me about that.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. When you think about it, when you're lying on a table, a massage table, getting craniosacral therapy, even though I use a very special mat, with craniosacral therapy, we work with 5 grams of pressure. So if you can imagine the weight of a nickel on your finger, that's literally all the pressure that we use most of the time. So you've got the pressure from the table, but when you're in the water, there's basically no pressure on the body. It's free to move. It's like you're back in amniotic fluid. And so there is so much healing that can come from the risk that you don't have in the water.
So you can actually do some of that in water. What would you do it in a pool or the ocean, or where would you do it?
We actually can do it both in the pool and also in the ocean. We consider the pool dead water because it has no life in it. and we consider the ocean or a river or a lake, we consider it live water because it has so much life flowing throughout it.
And I also saw some pictures of dolphins. So tell me about the dolphins. You had a good experience with some dolphins.
Oh, absolutely. When I took the classes, we get to work with dolphins and we get to receive treatment from the dolphins. And it is a very magical experience that has to be experienced. You cannot explain.
The dolphins are just all around you and they're obviously very friendly and you're interacting with them.
You are actually just lying there in the water. The dolphins are the ones that are interacting with you. They're swimming around you, they're nudging you, they're pointing their sonar at you, and you can literally feel the energy that they are sending you as you're floating in the
Ooh,
water.
that sounds very cool. I like that. You also have a blog. You do some
Yeah.
writing online about empowerment, self-healing, emotional health. What inspired you to do this? Is it your personal journey, your personal tragedy that you've experienced, your hardships that made you say, I really want to help inspire other people?
I think that that came from a personal development seminar, honestly. And it took me probably about 9 months after that personal development seminar before I decided to write the blog. I do feel like every post is more for me than it is for other people, but I figure if it's going to help me, then it's going to help other people.
You know, you've done so much self-work, created transformation in your own life, and clearly you want to help other people do that. So many women after a certain age feel stuck, feel unseen, maybe feel irrelevant, like they're not being taken seriously, and they really feel like they just don't have any idea how to find that next chapter. What advice would you give to women who are feeling that way?
I do believe that doors open when you do seek. I do believe that when you seek, you will find what you focus on, you attract. I believe highly in the law of attraction. If the door's always there, we just have to go up to it and open it. I love the phrase from Martin Luther King Jr. You don't have to see the whole stairs to take the first step. Taking that first step to whatever you desire is the biggest part. Sitting on the couch isn't going to get you anywhere. But taking that first step to enroll in a personal development course, ask people what's worked for them and then start your own journey.
Try something new and take a risk. And it's not easy,
Absolutely.
right? I've talked a lot about this with my guests. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we try something and it's like, that didn't really work out. Let's look at something else.
Do you think Serena Williams was a success the first time she started playing tennis? No, she practiced, and now look at her.
Anything that you haven't done that you'd like to try?
Working on my book for sure. That is a goal that I have, writing about my experiences, writing about my daughter's death, about my spiritual path, where I'm at, where it has evolved to now.
And hopefully being able to share that with other people, right? Share those messages. How can people find out what you're doing and follow you? I'm going to put your information in the show notes, but you have a couple of websites, right?
Yes, I do. I have my business website and then I have my personal blog website.
Can they follow you on social media?
They can. Both websites have the links to my social media pages, Instagram and Facebook as well.
Lynn, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today and to open up and to share your story. I know it is a painful journey, but it sounds like you've also come out on the other side and you're thriving and helping other people.
Those of us that go into massage therapy, counseling, and things of that nature, it's because we went through trauma ourselves, and that's how we heal our traumas and helping others do as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that today. I appreciate it.